Hi everyone, welcome back to Books with KB. As we all know, March is Women's History Month. I decided to read 3 books by women authors. So the first book that I read this month is The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory. Here's the book cover. Isn't it cute and just fun? It follows Nick and Carlos. You guys probably know Carlos as Drew's best friend in the last book. Nick and her current boyfriend at the time, they're at a Dodgers game for her boyfriend's birthday celebrating with his friends. And out of nowhere, he proposes to her like on this big Jumbotron. And keep in mind that the two of them have not been dating for more than 6 months, so she's, of course, taken aback by all of this and definitely confused. So she's looking at the Jumbotron and she notices that he spelled her name with a C. And she definitely spells her name with a K. Like, how embarrassing. And how dare you propose to somebody spelling their name wrong? Do you really think you guys are going to have like a happily ever after? No. Carlos and Nick meet. He's also at the Dodgers game with his sister. And they notice that this camera crew is getting ready to like pounce on Nick. So they come in like, hey girl, haven't seen you in so long, how are you? That kind of thing. It's like that thing that girls do when like they're being followed by like some weird creepy guy and you like pretend like you know the person to like let the guy know like, hey, she's not alone. Carlos and Nick, they find each other attractive, and at first Nick is like, I don't want to like, dive into something so fast, and her friends are like, girl, he would make a really good rebound, you better get on it. And things start to happen, they start to hang out, and they both realize that there is like chemistry and attraction between the two of them, but they both agree that this is nothing serious. It's like that, the same old no strings attached situationship type of thing that they fall into. They go out on dates, they spend time with each other, they become invested in each other's career and family and friend life. As a result of that, the relationship grows stronger. So Nick shows up to the hospital with food for him and his family, and at first Carlos is just like, I didn't really expect you to show up. And she's like, I can always leave if this is like too much or making you uncomfortable. But he's like, no, stay, I want you to stay. Fast forward to the next day, as a result of Nick being there for him, Carlos is like, I love you. And she's just like, what? What, huh? We weren't supposed to, I thought we weren't like doing all of that. You know how people get when they hear the word love, they start getting all panicked. And that's exactly what happened with Nick. So Carlos is like telling her like, I really care about you. I'm in love with you. And, I want to give this thing a real shot. And Nick is like, I did not sign up for this. He storms out and she eventually leaves. Nick has to realize that she has fallen for him too. This book took me maybe 3 or 4 days to read. It made me laugh at some points. The only thing that kind of bothered me was the dialogue between Nick and Carlos. Like, I understand that Nick and Carlos are very sarcastic people, but when I was reading it, I was just like, wait, did they just say that to each other? That was kind of mean. But then I had to process like, oh, wait, girl, it's a joke. Jasmine Guillory does a really good job of writing interracial relationships in this day and age. Like, an interracial relationship doesn't always mean black and white. For Nick and Carlos, it was black and Spanish, and I thought that was cool. It was fresh, it was funny, and the characters were once again relatable. I like the fact that Nick wasn't the one that fell first and wasn't like playing into the stereotype of how women don't know how to like set boundaries and stick to these boundaries. The next book that I read this March was Erotic Stories for Punjabi Wives by Balli Kaur Jaswal. This book does a really good show of letting you into someone else's culture, because even the main character, Nikki, she has a more modern take on life, whereas these how do I say it? Sikh widows have a more traditional sense. And I like reading about different cultures. Like, I even learned that if you're a woman, you usually get the name Kerr, and if you're a man, you get Singh. So that was Nikki. She's the main, as I said, she's the main character. She goes to the temple to put up a flyer for her sister who wants to be set up and have an arranged marriage. While Nikki is there, she comes across a flyer to teach women how to read, no, how to write, yeah. And Nikki goes to have an interview with the head of the program, this older Sikh woman named Kulwinder. And, she gives Nikki the job, but let me tell you, if something is too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Nikki finds out that these women can't write or read, and they don't even want to read or write. They just want to tell these stories. There's only one woman in the class that actually wants to learn how to write and be able to read. And Nikki, does try to help her. But eventually, that widow in particular doesn't like the whole sneaky and going behind Kulwinder's back of having the class be centered around these stories that these women are telling. I, for one, enjoyed the stories that the women were telling. Like, they were definitely erotic. They were not raunchy. As Nikki is teaching this class, she learns about Kulwinder's daughter, Maya, who supposedly committed suicide in that same lady who wanted to learn how to read and write's house. And, as they say, curiosity kills the cat. And Nikki almost died for wanting to find out about who really killed Maya, because the plot twist in this was so good. In the book, we learn about the Brotherhood. They're like these guys that have taken it upon themselves to, enforce patriarchy and misogyny throughout the Sikh community at that temple. We're like led to believe that they're like scary and intimidating and like rough. But as a reader, I was just like, who would listen to y'all? Like, who was afraid of y'all? I just thought, like, if we were going to commit to them being like super scary and intimidating, we should have went all the way there. The book does a great job of showing that as a woman, you do need a tribe. You do need people to lean on. They can be younger, they can be older. You do need friends that are willing to support you and guide you, give you criticism even when you don't want to hear it. And that was the case for Nikki. The last book that I read is Angie Thomas, On the Come Up. Some of you probably are familiar with Angie Thomas. If not, she was the author of The Hate You Give. That was also turned into a movie last year. Some people in society are really treated differently than others. And for this, it was Black girls. Like, Black girls they're not seen as angelic and cute. They're seen as ratchet, sassy, and troublesome, and all these, like, they always have an attitude, and they're an aggressor. Bree is a 16-year-old girl that lives in Mississippi. She wants to be a rapper just like her dad that passed. Well, he was murdered when she was like a little girl. And as a result of that, her mother couldn't like cope with all of the stress, I guess, of losing her boyfriend and father of her child at the time. So she started doing, I think it's crack. So she became addicted to that. But fast forward to present day, she's clean, she's sober. Bree wants to be a rapper, and she gets her time to shine at this place called The Ring. And she's pretty good. She chokes the first time, but during the second round, she does prove that she has the skill and she does have the wordplay to be a good rapper. At the time, her Aunt Pooh is managing her. Aunt Pooh is not a good manager. She don't know nothing about the music industry, zero. But she does get Bree to be able to actually record a song. Now, this song is very controversial in the sense that it talks about violence, gang activity, guns, and it's just like, you don't want to be associated with all of that, especially if you are just on the come up. But anyways, you know, Bree thinks that she knows it all, just like most 16-year-old girls or 16-year-olds do, and it comes to bite her in the ass. Bree gets turned into a local celebrity. She catches the eye of this manager named Supreme, who used to manage her dad. And to be honest, it's obvious that Supreme sees her as a meal ticket, but Bree feels that she has to do whatever she has to do to help her family get out of poverty. Supreme is like, yo, I could get you in the studio. I got some people that want to meet you, but you got to play into the stereotype. Once again, people want her to be this sassy hood rat, and she's just like, I'm not that girl. I'm just Bree. Like, take me seriously. I can rap. She goes to the studio and meets these people. They're mentioning this, like, character that she has to play again, and she's just trying to brush it off. But I think she, like, gets frustrated when she realizes that they've already written a song for her. And she's like, but I can rap, though. Bree has to witness her Aunt Pooh get arrested by the feds, and I already know that had to be traumatizing enough for her, like knowing that your dad died, seeing your mom get strung out on drugs, and now you're having to see somebody that you care so much about be taken away from you. In the book she mentions that she just feels like everyone that she loves gets taken away from her, and it's hard. Like, there was times when, like, I read this book and I just felt so sad. Yes, this is what actually happens to some people in this country. Like, this is someone's real life. This happens probably on the daily for other people out there. And we have to realize how fortunate and the privilege that we have, that we don't have to go through these stuff. By the end of the book, you know, Bree has to realize that she needs to stand up for herself. Like, she has to have pride. She has to be loyal to what she wants, and she has to have integrity. And that should not cost her her dreams. I like the fact that there was, like, a queer relationship in there because, you know, representation does matter. Angie does a really good job of writing for teenagers, because as a teenager, sometimes when you're like close friends with like the same sex, opposite sex, you realize like, oh wow, I think I kind of have feelings for this person, and what do I do? Like, do I ignore them? Do I pretend like they don't exist? Do I act on them? And that was like the situation between Bree and one of her best friends. I'll probably come back to you guys in May because I think I'm going to focus on memoirs for May. So look out for that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Don't forget to, you know, share, subscribe, like, even write a comment or two. See you guys later. Bye.